I could be close. Let me see. Look at this.
I just agree.
Now I have to do the whole thing like this.
We are now joined by number 13 ranked UFC women's bantamweight Sijara Eubanks. Sijara, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
We'll take our first question from Gabriel Gonzalez. Your line is open.
Hey, Sarge, feels like we spoke with you just a minute ago. When exactly did they reach out to you about this fight, and how long did it take you to get your coaches and team together for the trip?
They reached out to me on Tuesday night, and I had an hour to figure out who was coming with me. So I got one guy, Ryan Cafaro's come with me. So I have no idea what is today, Wednesday? So Tuesday last week, not yesterday. So Tuesday last week, they reached out to me. It was like Tuesday evening, and I was in New Jersey back home. They called me up. My management team, Ali, called me up, offered me the opportunity. I said yes right away. And after I said yes, I was like, all right, cool. When do we leave? He was like, in the morning. figure out who's coming, and we had like an hour. So I called my three guys. One of them was ready to go, and so it's just me and Ryan here, and we're gonna rock and roll.
You're coming off the two best victories of your UFC career so far. Do you feel like you've turned a corner personally in your training?
Absolutely. I feel like I've turned a corner physically, mentally, emotionally in my life, inside and outside of the gym. And it's showing. It's paying dividends. I'm feeling good. I feel like I've always asked to keep the momentum going into the Sarah Morris fight. I told my manager, like, right after this, I want to fight again no matter what happens. And I knew in order to get the frequency I wanted, I had to start winning these fights. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been putting up these W's, and, you know, you wish and you pray and you do, and the universe will answer. So here I am.
I guess what made the difference? Was there anything, like new coaches, new training partners? Was it just a new attitude? I mean, what was just like that last ingredient you needed?
Definitely the attitude, and definitely like I knew my two losses in the bantamweight division were close. I knew it was just tiny little adjustments I had to make. They were really closer fights than maybe the scorecard shows. So it's more of an attitude adjustment. And on top of that, like, it's 2020, it's a pandemic. There's a lot of crazy things going on in the world. And I think I kind of took that. I think I do better under such adversity. So I kind of was like, look, this can be terrible, and I can sit around and not fight for a year. I can take this opportunity. When I saw that Dana was cranking out fights and fighters were fighting frequently, I was like, this is my opportunity to take advantage of the environment as well. And so it's more of an attitude switch. I've had the same guys and the same coaches and the same sparring partners I've had since The Ultimate Fighter. I've been with Mark Henry in New Jersey, and Ryan Cafaro and sparring with Ketlen for like 4 years now. So there was no change in coaches. It was all a change right here, and a change in my belief in myself.
So the road to the bantamweight title, let's be honest, it doesn't seem very far for anyone. There's, with Amanda Nunes having defended it a couple times, it seems like it's pretty wide open. Ketlen was right there for a title shot recently. Do you feel like a win here could start getting you into that title conversation at 135?
Heck yeah, it does. I mean, when a 13 comes in and beats a 6 on 10 days notice, if that doesn't get you some attention, if that don't get you close, I don't know what else does, but that's my goal. My goal is to be the champion, and my goal is to climb this ladder. If it's one rung at a time or 4 rungs at a time, I'm gonna climb it. So a win over Ketlen definitely puts me top 10, top 5 even. That depends, but I think it's definitely got to put me in title contention. It's just like you said, I know the division is wide open. I've known it's been wide open for about a year now. So it's getting wider as Amanda's moving up to 45, and you see like Holm is back up, Aldana. The division's up for grabs right now.
Hey, thanks, Sarge. Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll take our next question from Damon Martin. Your line is open.
Hey, Sarge, we've talked a lot about, your kind of growing up and learning while you're in the UFC. You've kind of like grown up on this stage. Your last couple of performances really have been outstanding, and also coming, going from flyweight to bantamweight. Do you feel like now you are a true bantamweight and you've really made the adjustments you need to make to make that climb up the title. Because a lot of people have kind of said since the Ultimate Fighter, you're a person we got to keep an eye on. But now it feels like you're starting to reach that contender status.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I feel like I'm definitely a true bantamweight. I think having that discussion with myself and with my camp about moving from flyweight to bantamweight, the concern was the size, and I just trusted in my strength and my ability. My foundation in martial arts is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and when I was doing Jiu-Jitsu, I was competing in the gi at 163. So I kind of just had to trust myself that I could deal with the size, and I haven't feel like I don't feel like I've lost any strength in this division. And if anything, I'm getting more athletic and stronger as I stay in this division, as I get used to my body at this size, and I love it. I think it's a great division for me, and I'm happy. I think we made the right choice to be here.
Do you feel like that is an adjustment when you think about your first fight back at bantamweight, and then where you're at now in terms of putting the size on the muscle, just understanding the differences? People think 10 pounds isn't that much, but it is much, and it is a big difference. But do you feel like that has grown and shown in your last couple of performances now that you feel like you are a true bantamweight?
Yeah, it wasn't so much putting on size, because I actually tried to put on size, and I think that slowed me down. I think me trying to put on muscle kind of slowed me down with the Betskadea fight especially. So I think that was the adjustment, was understanding that I didn't have to put on so much muscle. I could rely on my natural body weight and really focus on my speed and my technique. Whereas when I was a flyweight, I was so muscular. I was cutting into my cardio to get down to flyweight. So that was more the adjustment, was more the technical adjustment at the size, the height adjustment, the reach adjustment at bantamweight, and not so much the muscle. I think that was kind of contributed to them first two stumbles I took. I was like, all right, I'm a bantamweight now, and I just was lifting like crazy instead of focusing on my technique, focusing on my martial arts, and focusing on my speed. So I think that's been the difference in how I've been able to turn things around and get some of these wins.
There's no giant secret, the magnitude of a fight like this, stepping in against a contender like Ketlen Vieira. I want to get your opinion, the lay of the land at bantamweight, because if you beat her after beating a very highly touted person like Julia Avila, to go out there and beat Ketlen, when you look at the lay of the land, you got Holm and Aldana coming up next weekend. I think a lot of people believe if Aldana wins, she's going to get the next title shot. But you got to believe that you're right in that mix with the win here, right? I mean, when you look at who's out there and who's actually fighting and active right now, I don't know. You kind of give me your idea on the lay of the land at bantamweight.
Yeah, it's not very active. The top 10 have not been very active. You got a couple of girls out with injury. You got a couple of girls out just haven't fought, maybe because of the pandemic or whatever. I think the Aldana Holm matchup is definitely a title contender matchup. I think the winner should definitely have a title shot. But yeah, after those two, who do you got? So, I take care of Ketlen like I should this weekend, and I'm definitely right up there with the talks. But we'll see how it goes. I don't like to look too far past my next matchup, so we're gonna focus everything on Ketlen this weekend, and then once we take care of the business at hand, we'll see where everything lays out after that. Because you got Holm, you got a couple other people. So right now I'm focused on this weekend, but I think a lot of opportunities open up for me after that.
And last thing for me, Sarge, obviously we're in a very, politically charged time in this country right now. You talk about Black Lives Matter. You talk about things going on right now. We saw last week, Tyron Woodley came out very strongly speaking about Black Lives Matter. And then we saw maybe some unfortunate comments from Colby Covington after his fight. I want to ask your opinion on that in terms of the athletes speaking out in the UFC and kind of where you stand on that, because obviously it feels like there is a platform and athletes have a way to speak to people on a larger platform like this. Then you have other people saying, "Oh, stick to sports, don't talk about it, don't address it." But then again, it's kind of hard not to when you see things like what Colby does. It's kind of hard not to address things like that, right?
Right. So let's be real. First and foremost, it wasn't unfortunate. It was flat out racist. What Kobe was saying. It was racist. It was disgusting, and quite frankly disappointing. But at the same time, the one thing I do appreciate is UFC lets whoever say whatever. They have never muzzled us as fighters. If you want to talk, you don't want to talk. You want to be political, you don't want to be political. And I have to appreciate the fact that the company lets us say what we want. It is America, and everybody can say what they want, but I think to be fair, I think guys that talk like Mike Perry and Colby Covington, I think a lot of things they say are racist and disgusting. I think it should be reported as such, instead of unfortunate or controversial. Like let's be real, it's racist. Like, he's calling the guy a Marxist and a communist, and he's saying that he's un-American. Like, if you were born in this country, you're an American. I don't give a damn. Like, if you were born in this country, I don't care what your background is, what your race is, what your socioeconomic status is. Like, you're an American, and that's it. To have another American say that you're not, I think is flat out fucked up. And it's more than unfortunate. And I think for us as fighters, I usually don't bring it up. If you ask me, I'll tell you. But I think hopefully the media and the fans will start to recognize that these things are not just sticks to sell fights. They're not just, I'm just trying to sell fights and be cool. Like, it's really offensive, a lot of those things that he's saying. So, but it is what it is. I'm not a guy, so I can't fight him. So ain't much I can do but answer questions,
Yeah. So a follow up on that, because a lot of what, and I hate coming back to Colby again, but a lot of what people think of about him was promotion. He's trying to be that guy. He's trying to be a personality and a character. But when you start crossing those lines, do you feel like that goes beyond promotion?
I think so. I mean, why not? Like, if I came out and if I came out and called somebody, a redneck or honky or something like that, I wouldn't get that kind of, I don't think I would get that kind of pat on the wrist like Colby got. Like, Colby's like, oh, like, I think people are rushing to his defense. Like, oh, he's just promoting himself. Like, he doesn't need to promote himself at this point to that extent. Like, if you can say it out and pretend it's a stick or a show, you gotta. I just don't think playing with something that's sensitive as race, especially in the time frame that we're in, is something that you should use to promote yourself. And I don't think it's promotion. I think it has to come from some source of how you really feel, because if not, you're a terribly good actor. And quite frankly, it's disgusting that people defend them. Same thing with Mike Perry. Like, Mike Perry dropped the N-word all over the place, and he pushed around people and women, and everyone's like, oh, he needs help. Like, no, that's abusive and alcoholic and racist. Like, that's what it is. And I think when it starts to get presented as such, hopefully things will start to change a little bit. And unfortunately, like, this is a game of entertainment, and that's what it is. And it's not unfortunate. I kind of like that it's a game of entertainment. I kind of like that it's more than just sports, and that's what all sports are. It's an art, and we have to train hard, and we have to bring our best foot into the cage as athletes. But at the same time, you have to be a personality. You have to be a character to sort of get ahead in this game. But do what's real and do what's true. And I don't think Colby's acting that much. And same thing, like, Chael Sonnen did the same thing with Anderson Silva, and everybody's like, oh, he's acting. Like, to act like a racist to me is to be racist. Like, I don't see it. Like, if I act like an abuser, like if I act like I beat my girlfriend up, no one's gonna be like, oh, she's just pretending to be a bad guy. People, I don't think that would be cool. So that's just my opinion on it. I think people are kind of letting it slide by saying it's a production, and I think you can sell tickets and you can sell yourself in a way that's not so blatantly offensive to so many other people.
Thank you, Sarge.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Sijara. You're all set.
Thank you.